Hello, welcome to your test automation channel. Today we will continue with the series of videos about design patterns in the test automation projects. And today we will see the page object. We will see how we can implement the page object and the advantages and benefits that the page object can give us in our test automation projects. Well, what is the page object? The page object is the most used design pattern in test automation. The page object represents web components or web page in a class, in a Java class or C# class. And this is very useful pattern to avoid code duplication, to get maintainable test automation projects. Now, let's see how we can implement the page object, the best practice to implement the page object. And in this example, we will implement the page object for this simple web page. It's a login page that have three main components: a username, password, and login. And now let's go to the code to see how we can implement the page object for this web page. Well, the first thing that we need to consider to implement the page object is that the page object is composed for two main elements. The first element is the locators. We need to represent the web locator as a class attributes in our page object class. We can see the login page, and here we see three attributes, and these three attributes represent the three elements in our page. We have here the username element, the password web element, and the login. And we identify, or we can reference in our code this attribute, but by his locator. In this case, the locator where the user input is its ID, that is user. We can see that in the HTML code for the username, we can see that the identifier for the username is the ID. And it's similar for the other locators. We have here three locators that we need to interact with them to simulate the user actions in this web page. And as I say, we represent this locator as attributes in my class, in the page object. The other important part in the page object is how we simulate the interaction of the user, how we simulate that the user click in a button or write in a file. Well, we represent this with methods. For example, we have a method for write the username, another method for write the password, and another method for simulate the click in the button. Here we are using Selenium, and this is the command from Selenium. Well, in summary, we can say that the page object is composed for two parts: the attributes that represent the locators and the methods that represent the behaviors of the web page that we want to automate. The other thing that we need to have in consideration is that if we have one action that redirect to another page, in this method we need to return the other page object. In this case, when we write the username, password, and click in the button login, this web page we redirect to another page that is a form for ads employee. And in this case, we simulate the same. We have a method login as that return the page object for the employee page. This is how we can represent the page object. in this case, for example, we have the constructor because when we create the class, we put the constructor, and the constructor in this case is only to get the web driver. The web driver is the object that Selenium provides us to interact with the browser. Well, now we can follow with the presentation. We see how we can implement the page object. But now let's see how or what are the main advantages and benefits of the page object. Well, the main advantage of the page object is that in case that our user interface change because the developers add a new functionality, or because they change the way to locate or find a web element, this type of change, the most common is that affect all the tests that are related with this change. But if we use the page object, we don't need to fix all the tests related with the change, because the code to interact with the web page is inside the page object. We will only need to fix the page object, and all the tests related with the change will be updated automatically. And this is very good because make our test framework more maintainable, and make us more efficient in a way to implement a new tests. But one thing that is very important, we need to take care in the way that we implement the page object, because if we don't implement correctly the page object can have very bad disadvantages, and it will be hard to maintain our test project if we don't know how to implement the page object. In the next video, I will show you the most common error with the page object and how to avoid it. Well, see you in the next video. Bye.